Aloha friends, this is Dr. Rebecca McCarthy, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to support your opinions and views using scholarship. Now this skill is going to become important as you're in college, and chances are if you have to write an academic paper for your instructor or write a discussion post in an online class, you're going to be asked to support your views using scholarship from either your textbook or an other good type of resource. So today we're going to look at the different steps. The first step is to write a really good opinion piece, to find a constructive way to get your thoughts out there and offer a good opinion. Next, we're going to look at how you can support that opinion specifically using scholarship. Today's example, I'm going to look at ethics. Now, one of the classes I happen to teach is ethics. So I'm going to look at a post that a student might put up in a discussion area that talks about confidentiality and ethics. The first example I have here is an example of an opinion piece that is not supported by scholarship. So let's just take a few minutes and read it. Doctors can have a tough time when it comes to patient confidentiality. Depending on the situation, a doctor could be stuck between a rock and a hard place. For example, let's propose that a doctor has an HIV-infected patient who is angry with his or her partner, and in the heat of that anger, the patient proclaims, "I'll give them HIV and let's see how they'd like it." What can a doctor do? Does the doctor believe his or her patient will really transmit HIV to their partner? Was it just talk or something more serious? It is difficult for a doctor who is legally bound to look out for the self-interest of his patient, while at the same time looking out for the interest of his partner and the wider public at large. But in this particular case, the doctor must consider the interests of the many over his patient, and he cannot spend too much time weighing the potential consequences. It is vital he break confidentiality and informs police about his patient's intent. Thus, the doctor needs to take action to protect anyone who may be negatively impacted by his patient's rashness. Now, this is a pretty good opinion piece. I give us the scenario, so I introduce the topic, and I explain the complexity of the particular issue, and then I take a little bit of time to say what I think should be done in this situation. Ultimately, this is a pretty good written opinion piece in general. But if we want to take it to that next level, which many people need to do when they're in an academic situation, what you need to do is you need to support many of your opinions with the scholarship you happen to be learning at the moment. So here is an example of the same post, but with scholarship put in. Now I'm going to skip the first part because the first part is pretty much the same. But the second part I'll read. And what you'll see is I've added vocabulary terms and concepts that, for example, maybe my student might be learning, places that they might put it in there so they could support their opinions. So the second half. What can a doctor do? Does the doctor believe his or her patient will really transmit HIV to their partner? Was it just talk or something more serious? It is difficult for a doctor who is legally bound to look out for the self-interest of his or her patient, egoism, while at the same time looking out for the interest of his partner and the wider public at large, utilitarianism. I'm going to stop here. The first thing I did is I started to introduce concepts and ideas. These concepts and ideas are technically from my students' reading, or it might be from my reading in this example. And I want to demonstrate that I am understanding the vocabulary and how it might apply to the topic at hand. Let's go on. In this particular case, the doctor must do what is right, and he cannot spend too much time weighing potential consequences. He must try to convince his patient to seek additional help, and he must inform the authorities, breaking confidentiality, about this patient's intent to spread HIV. As such, the doctor should utilize Kantian ethics. Okay, so here I have been introducing another concept, which was already in my mind when I wrote my opinion piece, but now I'm giving more specifics in order to support my opinion and my view. As defined by Thoreau and Craftsman, 2014, Kantian or duty ethics is a non-consequential form of reasoning that would require our doctor to be duty-bound to do the right thing. So now what I've done is I've introduced the text that I'm getting my authoritative information from. I am citing that text by saying who the authors are, and because I'm using APA, I'm including a date here as well. The next thing I'm doing is I'm giving the reader a definition of what Kantian ethics means, and I'm doing so in a paraphrase, but I'm following that up with a page number to let my reader know where they can go to find more information about Kantian ethics. But I have now supported my opinion using scholarship, and I have cited that information in a strong way. Now let's go on. Protecting others from harm is a universal duty and therefore a categorical imperative. So this is a continuation of this idea of Kantian ethics. And because it's a continuation using the same authors and the same texts, all I'm doing is just reiterating a page number here, letting my reader know that they can read more about Kantian ethics by going to this page. If this was going to be a paraphrase from a different author, I would once again have to do things like include all the authors' names and the page number as well as the date of publication. And then I don't want to end on a quote or information from somebody else. I want to end this piece on my opinion, giving my authority a little bit more weight. So I do so with a good, strong ending sentence. By doing the right thing, adhering to duty for his fellow human beings, the doctor can be assured he is making the right decision. And then I follow this all up with a nice works cited entry below. So this is how you can go ahead and support your opinions and your views using scholarship. And the reason we do this is simple. Our opinions are wonderful and they're important, but in the world of science, in the world of academics, in the world of politics in general, in our wider world, we are often asked to give evidence or support for our opinions. We don't want to stand alone. What we want to do is stand with an army behind us, all agreeing with us. And this is how academia takes the ball and does this type of thing. You might find different approaches with different fields, but in academia, this is a good place to start. So if you have any other questions or concerns about this, or you want to talk about it further, remember you can email me. And I'll make sure to have this particular example available to you in a Google document in which you can download and explore. Thank you very much, and aloha.